Hello everyone. Tuesday, November the 22nd is the memorial of the presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary in the temple. So this is the day in which we commemorate Mary's presentation, Mary being presented in the temple, most likely as a young child. This actually goes back as far as 1585 in the Roman calendar, which means it was undoubtedly celebrated long before then. Okay, to the first reading, it's from 2nd Maccabees today, so we're jumping from 1st to 2nd Maccabees. It's a long reading, there's so much here for our benefit. This is Eleazar, who's this old man, very venerable individual, holy and pious. He's going to die as he has lived, faithful to God. All the fruits of his sacrifice and labor, his prayer, are coming to fruition. And his cooperation with grace to die faithful to God rather than blaspheme, turn against the Lord. But what's interesting is, there's a couple of things, of course, that he's not willing to apostatize. He wants to be faithful. And if the only way he can be faithful is that he has to die, then he's willing to die. But you see, those who were in charge of the unlawful sacrifice took the man aside because of their long acquaintance with him and privately urged him to bring meat of his own providing, proper for him to use, and to pretend that he was eating the flesh of the sacrificial meal that had been commanded by the king, so that by doing this he might save his life. So basically, lie. Basically, be a hypocrite. Do one thing, or pretend to do one thing, but not really do it. But everybody else will think you're doing it, right? And he sees through this. This would be not only hypocrisy, it would lead people into sin because they would think he was doing it. So he's just saving his own skin. So he makes the right decision, obviously under the power of grace, but as a result of his own fidelity towards God. So when he had said this, Eleazar went at once to the rack. So he goes to the instrument of his torture and death. And those who were little before had acted toward him with goodwill now changed to ill will because the words he had uttered were, in their opinion, sheer madness. So you see, this is what happens. True fidelity, true faithfulness will ultimately bring about an awareness of who is a true friend of ours. When we are willing to hold fast, be steadfast, be faithful to the Lord, the true friends will show themselves. And all the fake ones, all the ones who are perhaps around us for whatever purpose, they will fade away. And some of this will hurt. The important thing is we don't intentionally drive them away, but we simply remain faithful to the Lord, and this will happen. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. So Jesus goes into Jericho. This is meeting Zacchaeus. Now, and Zacchaeus goes ahead. He's really interested in Jesus. He wants to see Jesus. And that's really important because, remember, Herod will also want to see Jesus, but for a very different reason. Herod's a narcissist. He's a sociopath. He's not interested in the truth, hearing what Jesus really has to say. He just wants to see a trick. But Zacchaeus puts himself in harm's way. He runs ahead up a sycamore tree and waits, right? And he could have been stoned, ridiculed, spat upon. So he puts himself in harm's way, but he really wants to see Jesus. Jesus stops and blesses and rewards this willingness on his part, this clearly what's authentic and sincere, genuine. And he says to Zacchaeus, probably shocked him and shocked the crowd, undoubtedly. Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So, and then of course the crowd grumbles because he's not only a tax collector, but a chief tax collector. So, but Zacchaeus stood his ground and said, Lord, half my possessions I give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anything 4 times, the law of Moses required only 2 times. Zacchaeus is going to do it 4 times. He's so overwhelmed by Jesus' welcoming him that this generosity just flows from him. He's so grateful that Jesus wants to encounter him. So don't underestimate, don't judge a book by its cover, we say. Just be faithful. The power of the Holy Spirit will do its work. But we need to be good instruments, good conduits of grace Because if Jesus had just walked by him, he would have been downcast and maybe even gone further into his wicked life. But Jesus encountered him, didn't water down anything about what he was. He had just encountered him as a person, and Zacchaeus responded super abundantly. So just be conscious about those that you encounter, family members, friends, colleagues, and so on, who may be so far away from God or the faith. I'm not saying, have a hug fest or something, but be conscious about being kind, about just being sincere, not being fake, just be sincere and really pray for them from the heart. Remember Zacchaeus. God bless you.